She was nobody. A homeless girl selling bread on the side of a road in Lagos, Nigeria. Torn dress, bare feet. The kind of person you look through, not at. He was everything. A billionaire, powerful, respected, untouchable. That Tuesday morning, she saw him step out of his office building, and something inside her snapped. She dropped her basket of bread, ran into traffic, and grabbed his jacket. Then she did the unthinkable. She started ripping his clothes off, right there in front of everyone. His jacket, his shirt, buttons flying everywhere. People screamed. Security rushed forward. His face went from shock to rage. "Stop," she begged, tears streaming. "Your clothes are cursed. If you keep wearing them, you'll be dead by sunset." The billionaire stood there, half naked, in the middle of Lagos, and the piece of fabric she was clutching in her hands, it looked completely normal. But what she knew about those clothes would expose a betrayal so evil it would destroy his entire world. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to support our channel. Lagos, Nigeria, present day. Grace woke up before the sun did, not because she wanted to, because the streets didn't forgive people who moved slowly. She opened her eyes on bare concrete under a shop canopy. The cold from the night still clung to her bones. A passing bus splashed dirty water near her feet. She jerked upright, heart racing. For a moment, she didn't remember where she was. Then reality settled in. Same place as yesterday, same life as always. Grace was 17 years old and had been homeless for 3 years. She didn't talk about how she got here. Didn't matter anyway. The streets didn't care about your story. She rubbed her arms and stood up. Her dress was faded, torn at the hem, smelled of smoke and dust from the mechanic workshop nearby. Pain was normal now. Her back ached, her feet hurt, but she'd learned to ignore it. By sunrise, Grace was already at the roadside where bread sellers gathered. She counted her money carefully, small crumpled Naira notes tied inside a plastic bag. Not much, barely enough, but enough to buy today's batch. The basket was heavy when she lifted it. She balanced it on her head the way she taught herself years ago. The bread was arranged neatly, fresh, still warm from the bakery, her only source of survival. "Buy your fresh bread," her voice cut through the morning air. She walked past mechanic workshops first. The smell of petrol and grease filled her nose. "Bread girl," one mechanic called, laughing. "You look like a ghost." Grace forced a smile and stopped. He touched the bread, squeezed it, then dropped it back. "Too expensive," he said, and turned away. She swallowed the insult and moved on. At the construction site, dust coated her feet. Laborers wiped sweat and stared at her like she was part of the scenery. One man bought bread and refused to give her change. "Go," he waved her away. Grace wanted to argue. Her mouth opened. Then she closed it. Arguing didn't put food in her stomach. By mid-afternoon, the sun pressed heat into her skin. Her legs shook from walking. The basket felt heavier with every street she crossed. Her throat was dry. Dust clung to her lips. She wiped sweat with the back of her hand and kept moving. "Buy your fresh bread." Nothing marked the moment. Nothing warned her. It was just another step on a road she'd been walking her whole life. But Grace had a secret. Something she never told anyone. Something that had nearly gotten her killed once before. She saw things. Not visions, not spirits, just knowing. A sudden certainty that something terrible was about to happen. It had started when she was 14. She'd been selling bread when a woman stepped toward a busy road, laughing on her phone. Grace felt it then, a sharp urgency she couldn't explain. "Auntie, wait, don't cross." The woman glanced back, annoyed. "Mind your business." She stepped forward. The sound came too fast. A horn, a scream, a body hitting metal. Blood spread across the road. Then someone pointed at Grace. "She was talking to her. What did you say? Why were you shouting?" The crowd turned. Faces hardened. "She caused it. She's a witch." Hands grabbed her dress. Someone slapped her basket aside. Grace broke free somehow and ran. She hid under a bridge until morning, shaking, listening for footsteps that never came. After that day, Grace learned something brutal. Words could kill you. Silence kept you alive. So she stopped speaking when she felt the warnings. She learned to look away, to keep walking, to survive. For 3 years, she'd ignored every warning that came, until the day she saw the billionaire in those clothes. Raymond Cole's mornings began in silence. Not the empty silence of loneliness, the controlled quiet of a man whose life ran on schedules and decisions. His air-conditioned office overlooked Lagos, floor-to-ceiling glass, construction cranes rising in the distance. He stood by the window, tie perfectly knotted, watching workers at one of his sites below. It gave him satisfaction, things moving the way they should. Raymond was 42, self-made, started with nothing. On his desk sat a framed photo, 2 teenage boys in school uniforms, arms around each other, grinning. Raymond and Michael. Brothers, best friends, partners. The office door opened. "Morning, boss," Michael said. Raymond turned and smiled. "You're early." Michael shrugged, dropping into the chair. "Traffic favored me today." Raymond sat, flipping open a file. "We have the Lecky meeting at 11. I want the figures clean." "They're clean," Michael replied, too quickly. Raymond didn't notice. He trusted Michael the way you trust habit, without thinking. Michael had been there from the beginning. When Raymond took loans nobody believed he could repay, when he slept in his office too tired to go home. Michael had been there, eating takeaway on cardboard boxes, complaining, laughing, surviving. When the first big contract came, Raymond didn't hesitate. He brought Michael in, made him manager, gave him access to everything. The city watched Raymond rise. New offices, new properties, interviews, his name in newspapers. People shook his hand harder now, smiled longer, listened more carefully. Michael watched too. When Raymond signed papers, Michael handed them over. When congratulations came, Michael stood beside him. When praise filled the room, Michael clapped last. "New suit?" Michael asked, eyeing Raymond's clothes. Raymond glanced down at his charcoal gray suit. Italian, expensive. "Yeah, Taylor delivered it yesterday." Michael's jaw tightened slightly. "Looks good. You should get one. I'll give you his number." "Maybe," Michael said, but inside, resentment burned. That afternoon, Raymond walked through one of his construction sites. The sun was brutal. Cement dust hung in the air. Workers greeted him respectfully. He greeted them back, asking questions, listening. Michael followed, tablet in hand. Raymond stopped to help a laborer lift a fallen plank. The man stared, shocked. "Sir, no." "It's fine," Raymond said, already lifting. Michael watched. His jaw tightened. By the time they returned to the car, Raymond was dusty, sleeves rolled up, smiling. Michael opened the door for him. Raymond didn't see the way Michael's hand lingered on the handle, didn't see the look that flashed across his face, brief, sharp, buried immediately. Raymond had everything, and standing beside him was the one person who wanted it all for himself. The night that changed Michael happened at a dinner party. Crystal glasses, polished floors, soft music. Men in tailored suits and women in expensive perfume filled the hall. Raymond moved through the room like he belonged. People turned when they saw him. "Raymond, the man himself! Your Lecky project was impressive." Raymond laughed, shook hands, accepted compliments with warmth. Michael followed half a step behind. At first, no one noticed him. Then someone asked, "And you are?" Before Michael could answer, Raymond spoke. "That's Michael, my manager. He's been with me from the start." The man's smile returned briefly. "Oh, that's nice," already turning away. Michael stood there holding a glass he hadn't asked for. When servers passed, they reached for Raymond first. When business talk started, chairs shifted, always away from Michael, never toward him. A woman leaned close to Raymond. "You built all this yourself?" Raymond smiled. "I had help." She laughed lightly. Of course. The words were kind. The meaning was not. Michael felt it then, sharp and humiliating. He wasn't invisible because he lacked value. He was invisible because the room had already decided who mattered. Later, as Raymond was pulled aside by investors, Michael stood alone. A waiter brushed past without apology. Someone placed an empty glass in front of him like he was furniture. When they finally left, Raymond talked excitedly about new opportunities. Michael listened, and inside him, something hardened. That night, lying awake, Michael stopped asking why life chose Raymond. He began asking how to change the choice. Days passed. The jealousy grew teeth. After the party, the image refused to leave Michael. Raymond at the center of everything while he stood at the edges. Sleep became difficult. Every compliment Raymond received felt stolen. Michael stopped wanting success. What he wanted now was absence. He wanted Raymond gone. The thought scared him at first. He tried to reason with himself. Years of friendship, shared childhood, shared struggle. But the thought didn't fade. It settled, waited, returned every morning, until one evening Michael got into his car and didn't turn back. He drove far beyond familiar roads, past the city lights, into darkness. The road narrowed, swallowed by trees. When he stopped, silence pressed in, thick and heavy. The shrine was hidden, almost forgotten. The air smelled of damp earth and smoke. The native doctor sat still, as if he'd been expecting him. He looked at Michael once and spoke calmly. "You came to remove a man from your path." Michael's chest tightened. He hadn't said a word. The man explained without emotion. A charm. Quiet. Clean. Something tied to clothing Raymond would wear. His new suit. "Bring me the suit," the native doctor said. "I will prepare it. When he wears it for 3 full days, he will collapse. It will look like a heart attack. Natural, no suspicion." Michael listened, heart beating hard but steady. "And the cost?" The native doctor replied, "If the charm is broken before 3 days, the curse will turn on you. You will suffer what you wished on him." Michael nodded. The risk didn't frighten him. Not anymore. The next morning, Michael walked into Raymond's office with coffee. "Morning," Raymond said, barely looking up from his computer. Michael set the coffee down. "That new suit you got, the gray one, can I borrow it?" Raymond glanced up. "Why?" "I have a meeting with some investors tomorrow. Want to look sharp. Mine's at the dry cleaners." Raymond shrugged. "Sure, it's in my office closet. Take it." That evening, Michael took the suit. He drove straight to the shrine and placed it in the native doctor's hands. Rituals were performed, words spoken low, things sewn into the lining that Michael refused to look at. When the suit was returned, the warning was repeated. 3 full days. If the clothes are removed before then, the curse breaks and turns. "I understand," Michael said. He didn't wait to hear the rest. The following day, he hung the suit back in Raymond's closet. 2 days later, Raymond wore it to an important meeting. "This suit brings me luck," Raymond joked. "Closed the biggest deal of my life in it." Michael smiled. Inside him, the countdown began. Day 1. Just 2 more days. The second day after Raymond started wearing the cursed suit began like every other day. The office compound was already awake. Security at the gate, staff crossing the parking lot. Nothing felt unusual. Raymond stepped out of the glass building, adjusting his tie. He was wearing the suit again, the gray Italian suit that fit him perfectly, the suit that was killing him with every second he wore it. His briefcase hung loosely. His mind was calm. Across the road, Grace moved slowly, basket balanced on her head. "Buy your fresh bread!" Then she saw him. Her body reacted instantly. Her chest tightened, her breath caught, her heart raced violently. The clothes. Something was wrong with his clothes. She saw it, felt it, the same terrible certainty she'd learned to ignore. But this time it was overwhelming. This time she couldn't look away. Raymond walked toward his car, straightening his jacket. Grace stopped shouting. She gently lowered the basket and placed it on the pavement. The bread tumbled out, forgotten. She rushed toward him. "Sir!" Raymond turned. Before he could speak, Grace grabbed his jacket. "What?" he started. Her fingers closed on the fabric. She pulled, hard. The jacket came off his shoulders. "Hey, what are you doing?" Raymond shouted. People nearby stopped. A security guard started running toward them. But Grace didn't stop. She grabbed his shirt, started unbuttoning it frantically. "Stop! Are you insane?" Raymond tried to push her away, but Grace was desperate. She ripped the shirt open, buttons scattered across the pavement. "Your clothes!" she screamed. "Take them off! They're going to kill you!" The security guard grabbed her arm. "Let me go!" Grace fought back. "He'll die! Don't you understand? He'll die!" Raymond stood there, shirtless now, his jacket and shirt on the ground. A crowd had formed. Phones came out. People were recording. "Please," Grace begged, still struggling against the guard. "Please don't put them back on." Raymond stared at her, then at his clothes on the ground. "Why?" he demanded. "Why are you saying this?" Grace's eyes filled with tears. "I see things, I know things, and those clothes, someone cursed them. If you wear them for 3 days, you'll die." Raymond's face changed. 3 days? "Today is day 2, Grace whispered. "If you wear them until tomorrow, you won't survive." The crowd murmured. Some people laughed. Others looked uncomfortable. Raymond picked up his shirt, examined it. It looked completely normal. "This is expensive fabric, custom-made. How would anyone curse it?" "I don't know how. I just know it's true." Raymond looked at the security guard holding her. "Let her go." "Sir? I said let her go." The guard released Grace's arm. Raymond stared at her. "If you're lying to me—" "I'm not," Grace said firmly. "I've never lied about this, ever." "Then how do you know?" Grace swallowed hard. "Because 3 years ago I warned someone. They didn't listen. They died. And the crowd blamed me, called me a witch, almost killed me." She looked him in the eyes. "I stopped warning people after that. For 3 years I stayed silent, watched people walk into danger and said nothing, because silence kept me alive." Her voice broke. "But I can't watch you die. I can't, so I'm breaking my silence, even if it gets me killed." Raymond stood there half naked in the middle of Lagos, holding his cursed clothes. Behind him, in the crowd, Michael had gone completely white. He pushed through people, walking toward them, fast. "Raymond," Michael called. "What's going on? Why are you—" He stopped when he saw the clothes on the ground. His eyes met Grace's, and Grace saw something in his face that made her blood run cold. Guilt. "It was you," Grace whispered, staring at Michael. "You did this to him." Michael's face drained of color. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do," Grace said louder. "You cursed his clothes. You wanted him dead." Raymond turned slowly to look at Michael. "Michael?" Michael's mouth opened, closed. The crowd had gone silent. Grace pointed at the clothes. "Check the lining. That's where they hide the curses. Check it." Raymond picked up the jacket, turned it inside out, and there, sewn into the inner lining with black thread, was something small and dark, a charm, wrapped in cloth, stained with something that looked like blood. Raymond's hands started shaking. "Michael," he said quietly, "what is this?" Michael took a step back. "I can explain. What is this?" Raymond roared, and Michael did the only thing he could do. He ran. What happened next would change everything. Because when the police caught Michael, what he confessed would destroy families, expose dark secrets, and prove that the homeless girl everyone ignored had just saved a billionaire's life. But the cost of breaking that curse, it was higher than anyone imagined. This is where Part 1 ends. Comment Part 2 if you want to see what happens when they open that charm, when Michael's confession reveals how deep the betrayal goes, and when Grace discovers that saving Raymond's life might have just cursed her own. Because what happens next will shock you. Hit that like button and subscribe to The Tales Teller. The continuation is coming, and you won't want to miss it. Your story could be next.